Imagine this for a second. One day you wake up and realize you no longer reply to certain messages. You don't argue. You don't explain. You don't beg people to understand you. You simply disappear from their life. No drama, no closure, just silence. If you cut people off easily, psychology says this is not random, and it's definitely not heartless. In fact, it reveals something very deep about how your mind works. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear might completely change the way you see yourself and the people you walked away from. Most people think cutting people off means you're cold, selfish, or emotionally weak. But psychology paints a very different picture. People who walk away quietly usually didn't leave suddenly. They stayed longer than they should have. They tried to understand, to fix things, to explain themselves again and again. And when they finally leave, it's not impulsive. It's the result of mental exhaustion. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone, and you're exactly in the right place here on Silent Psychology. Before we go deeper, if you enjoy content that helps you understand human behavior, emotional intelligence, and the hidden side of the mind, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Silent Psychology. It really helps the channel grow and allows us to keep creating deep, meaningful content like this for you. Now let's talk about what psychology really says. People who cut others off easily often have a very strong sense of self-respect. They may not talk about it. They may not even fully realize it. But deep down, they know their limits. When someone repeatedly crosses boundaries, disrespects their feelings, or drains their energy, their mind starts keeping score. And once that internal line is crossed, the decision is final. No revenge, no loud goodbye, just distance. Psychologists say this behavior is common in people who value emotional safety over emotional attachment. They understand, sometimes subconsciously, that staying connected to the wrong people can slowly destroy their mental peace. So instead of arguing or fighting for validation, they choose silence. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much about their own mental health. Another powerful reason behind this mindset is emotional intelligence. People who cut others off easily are often very aware of patterns. They notice repeated behaviors. They remember how someone made them feel, not just what they said. And when those patterns don't change, they stop giving chances. To them, walking away is not quitting. It's choosing clarity over confusion. You might have noticed that these people don't cut everyone off. They are usually very loyal to the right ones. They love deeply, listen carefully, and give a lot of themselves. That's why betrayal, disrespect, or emotional manipulation hits them harder. Once trust is broken too many times, their mind switches from attachment to protection mode. Psychology calls this a defense mechanism built from experience. There's also a strong connection between cutting people off and past emotional wounds. Many people who do this grew up having to protect their emotions early in life. Maybe they were ignored, misunderstood, or taken for granted. So their mind learned one important lesson. Staying too long in painful situations costs too much. As adults, they would rather walk away than relive that emotional pain. If you're someone who cuts people off without explaining yourself, psychology says you're not avoiding communication. You're avoiding emotional labor. You already explained. You already tried. You already waited. And at some point, repeating yourself feels disrespectful to your own feelings. Silence becomes your final answer. Interestingly, studies also show that people who cut others off tend to have high self-awareness. They reflect a lot. They replay conversations in their head. They question themselves before making a decision. That's why when they finally leave, they rarely look back. Their closure happened long before the goodbye. But here's the part most people don't talk about. Cutting people off is not easy emotionally. Even if it looks effortless from the outside, internally it's heavy. These people often grieve quietly. They miss the version of the person they hoped for, not the one that actually existed. They don't hate, they just accept reality. Psychology also says that this behavior increases as people mature. Younger minds chase explanations. Older minds chase peace. At some point you realize not everyone deserves access to you, and protecting your energy becomes more important than proving your point. If this video is making you think about people you've walked away from, pause for a moment and remind yourself of one thing. You didn't leave because you didn't care. You left because caring was costing you too much. And that awareness itself is a sign of emotional strength. People who cut others off easily are often misunderstood. They are labeled as distant or cold. But in reality, they feel deeply. That's exactly why they have to be careful about who they let close. Their mind knows that not everyone deserves the soft side of them. This is why these people prefer a small circle. They value depth over quantity. They would rather be alone than surrounded by people who make them feel invisible. Psychology says solitude feels safer to them than fake connections. And if you've ever wondered why once they cut someone off, they never return, here's the reason. Their mind closes emotional doors completely. Reopening those doors feels like betraying themselves. Once trust is gone, it's not anger that keeps them away. It's clarity. If you're still watching, it means this topic resonates with you on a personal level, and I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Near the end of this video, I'll ask you a question that might help you release something you've been holding inside for a long time. One more thing psychology highlights is that people who cut others off often struggle with guilt. They question if they were too harsh, too sensitive, or too distant, but over time they realize that protecting their peace was necessary. Healing doesn't always look kind. Sometimes it looks quiet. As we move closer to the end, remember this: cutting people off doesn't mean you're broken. It means you learned your worth the hard way. It means your mind chose survival over suffering. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, but can't put it into words. And now I want to ask you something. Have you ever cut someone off and felt guilty about it, even though you knew it was the right decision? Let me know in the comments. Your story might help someone else feel understood. Thank you for being here with Silent Psychology. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, sometimes silence is not weakness, it's wisdom.